A normal day, until it wasn't. Ethan Cole arrived early, as always. The city skyline of Seattle gleamed under the rising sun, casting long shadows through the glass panels of Ultimax Consulting's high-rise office. He sipped black coffee, while reviewing his notes for a morning pitch that could bring in over $2 million. For Ethan, this was routine, but no less thrilling. His team respected him. His clients trusted him. His track record spoke volumes. Ethan was responsible for more than 40% of the company's revenue over the past 3 years. Today, he was set to close a deal with a major healthcare firm that had been weeks in the making. The presentation went flawlessly. The client signed on the spot. Ethan's team cheered quietly in their open-floor bullpen. He smiled, knowing this would keep the company afloat another quarter, but something felt off. Bryce Langford, the new CEO, barely acknowledged the win. No congratulations, no handshake. Just a tight-lipped nod before disappearing into his corner office. That afternoon, Ethan received a meeting request, 3 p.m. HR office, mandatory. He arrived to find Bryce and the head of HR waiting, both expressionless. "Ethan," Bryce said flatly, "we're letting you go." Chapter 2. The slap in the face. Ethan blinked. "Excuse me?" "You're being terminated effective immediately for underperformance," Bryce repeated, pushing a folder across the table. The room spun slightly. "Underperformance? I just closed a multi-million-dollar deal this morning." "This decision has been in motion for some time," Bryce replied. "The board wants more cost-effective leadership. So it's not performance, it's salary. We're restructuring." HR slid the termination papers across the table. Ethan stared at them. His heart pounded, but his face remained composed. He could have yelled, demanded answers. But he didn't. He calmly stood, signed nothing, and walked out. The walk of shame passed. His stunned team was brief. He said nothing. They stared after him in disbelief, because Ethan had already prepared for this. Chapter 3. What they didn't know. 3 months earlier, Ethan noticed the shift. Budgets were being cut without notice. Projects he led were reassigned. Meetings happened without him. Bryce, new and flashy, made no effort to hide his distaste for veterans who carried too much influence. Ethan began preparing. He reviewed his contract, consulted a lawyer, began building a separate consultancy quietly. He registered Cole & Partners Consulting, built a secure client portal, and reached out discreetly to longtime partners and vendors. He also documented everything, every suspicious email, every unprofessional comment from Bryce. He stored them away in a locked folder labeled insurance, all while doing his job better than ever. So when the axe fell, Ethan didn't fall with it. He stepped aside, and into something better. Chapter 4. Day after termination. The next morning, Ethan launched his consultancy. His LinkedIn post simply read, "Excited to announce the launch of Cole & Partners Consulting, helping companies thrive with sharp strategies and bold execution." Messages poured in. By noon, 3 clients, all formerly his at Ultimax, reached out asking to switch. 2 more followed by evening. One client even called him directly. "We want to work with you, not that clown Bryce." By the end of the day, Cole & Partners had secured $1.4 million in signed contracts. Ethan worked late into the night, setting up project timelines, onboarding new hires, and sipping a well-earned glass of scotch. Chapter 5. Panic at HQ. Bryce found out the next day. A client canceled a $500K contract, citing they wanted to follow Ethan Cole. An emergency leadership meeting was called. Questions flew. How did this happen? Who let him leave with client contacts? Why wasn't legal involved sooner? Staff grew, anxious. Bryce barked orders. Investors called, but no one had answers. A junior analyst whispered to a colleague. He fired the rainmaker. What did he think would happen? Meanwhile, Ethan's phone buzzed nonstop. And Ethan? He just smiled. Chapter 6. The exodus in the weeks that followed, the tide turned into a flood. Clients left, staff resigned, some joining Ethan. Former interns, analysts, and project leads reached out to join his team. Cole & Partners expanded. Fast. He moved into a modest but modern office space downtown. Every desk was filled with people who believed in the mission. Ultimax's Q2 numbers crashed. Word spread across the industry. Recruiters began avoiding Ultimax altogether. Chapter 7. The legal firestorm. Ultimax filed a cease and desist, then a lawsuit. They accused Ethan of breaching non-competes, but Ethan had prepared. His lawyer filed a countersuit. Wrongful termination, reputational damage, defamation. Ethan produced the insurance folder. Emails, memos, and timelines that made Bryce look not only incompetent but malicious. Depositions painted Bryce as vindictive and sloppy. HR staff quit before testifying. One executive even apologized privately to Ethan. The case collapsed before trial. Ultimax quietly settled. Chapter 8. The board revolts. Investor confidence tanked. Revenue dipped by 38%. The board called emergency meetings. Bryce was grilled. His arrogance had cost them millions. They demanded resignations. He refused. They suspended him. A week later, he was terminated. The announcement was short. The damage was not. Ultimax stock dropped 22% in a week. Cole & Partners became a top-tier boutique firm. Ethan hired smart, treated people well, innovated quickly. They published white papers, won awards, and developed proprietary software that streamlined business strategies. A Forbes article titled, "From Fired to Fortune: How One Man Outsmarted Corporate Greed," went viral. Ethan spoke at conferences, wrote a book, built a legacy. He never once mentioned Bryce by name. Chapter 10. Full circle. Months later, Ethan walked past Ultimax's office tower. It was up for lease. He paused, then kept walking. His new firm occupied a suite just 2 blocks away, sunlight gleaming on its windows. He smiled, not out of vengeance, but satisfaction, because the best revenge is not destruction. It's thriving beyond their reach. Chapter 11. The call from the top. One morning, Ethan received a call from a number he didn't recognize. It was a senior executive from a Fortune 100 company. "We read your article in Forbes. We're interested in partnering with Cole & Partners on a global rebranding strategy." The offer was massive, bigger than anything Ethan had handled before, but he didn't flinch. He took a deep breath, smiled, and said, "Let's talk details." This wasn't just success anymore. It was legacy in the making. Late one evening, Ethan stood in his office, lights dimmed, watching the city below. He remembered the sting of being fired, the doubt, the anger. Now his name was on the building, and the only thing stronger than his drive was his gratitude. He picked up a photo of his late father, a man who taught him to never let ego get in the way of purpose. "You were right, Dad," he whispered. "Build it better, then build it again." The end.